this is Sharika Brown here, and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about IQ. What's your IQ? And does it determine whether or not you're going to be successful? Now, I was reading on the Mensa's website because recently a friend of mine posted on Facebook about taking the IQ test. And I've taken a test. I've taken a test over the years, taken a test as a child, um, and I range about the same score every time I've taken it, somewhere between 120 and 125. Now, to some people, that's incredible. But to me, what the test tells me is that I basically think the same way logically that I did back then. To some, it's like, oh gosh, as an eight-year-old, you had that score. Like, yeah, but it's if you look at my academics, there is one area that I exceeded the most, and one area that just was super crappy. So reading and language arts bombed. Science and math excel. And it's largely because, one, I can read words because of my memory. So they thought that I could excel. However, I couldn't tell you how to use those words or me personally be able to use them in a sentence. Because of my memory, I know patterns and I memorize rules. So I could pronounce almost any word you put in front of me, but ask me what it means, I couldn't tell you. That was back then. I've gotten better now because I've been reading more books, so that has helped. So if you have a child that's struggling with reading and language arts, encourage them to read. I hated reading, absolutely hated it. Put some numbers in front of me, face light up, world is better, life is great. But reading, not so much. And so I was looking on Mensa's website, and one of the things they said, like, people want to know, recognize whether or not their child is gifted or genius, or identify, what level are they to fit in society. And a lot of times we use that number to determine if the child is going to be academically successful. That doesn't translate to being successful in the world because they have to learn other skills to be able to do that. And so I was looking at their site, and they were wanting to know, spotting some signs um, of being gifted. And it says many parents or teachers may see signs in their child that make them think he or she is gifted. These signs, such as the ability to learn things very quickly, an unusually large vocabulary, or an uncommon ability to solve problems, could mean that the child is gifted. However, there are also several less obvious characteristics, some of which may surprise you. Idealism and a strong sense of justice, for example, or the child being preoccupied with their own thoughts, a daydreamer. That was me. Intense curiosity, and that's me today too. Intense curiosity in how things work is a common trait, as is a tendency to experiment with doing things differently or linking ideas and thoughts together that are not usually linked. That's me also. So I approach problems very well like that. So I always say there isn't a problem. There is something that needs a solution. Um, and I approach it that way because I go in thinking and believing there is a solution to what's happening. And I look at the whole picture. That's just how I approach things. And so they also say each child is different and it is difficult to generalize. But most bright children have some of the characteristics listed below. And I'm just going to list those. perceptive, inquiring minds, unusual insight and intellectual curiosity, superior judgment and reasoning ability, abstract and critical thinking, originality, ability to see connections between ideas, long concentration spans in areas of interest, advanced reading ability, extensive vocabulary, keen powers of observation, strong sense of ethics and values, a sense of humor, a rapid mastery of basic skills. Going back to that sense of humor, most people say I have dry humor, but that's okay. I laugh. It's funny to me. Special ability in one or more areas such as music, art, science, language, computers, or mathematics. And as I said before, mine was mathematics. That's where I excel the most. And so looking at that, so it ranges. Not all kids have all of that and all of those characteristics. And so with identifying that, it's like, okay, how can they use that to be successful in the world? Some use it and some don't. So it doesn't mean that because someone has a 140 and above, that means that they are genius. It doesn't mean that they will be successful if they haven't learned how to use their talent to their ability. And for me, like I said, I've scored the same since I was a little kid, in the same range between 120 and 125. Some would say that's exceptional, but for me, it's like I said, it just means that I think the same way I did back then. My logic of thinking hasn't changed. And I do think a lot. I am a thinker, and I always look at things differently than most people. And I guess you could say I test their thinking, and I say, well, what if, or it could be this instead of that. So I'm always looking at it from the positive light when things are negative. So let's translate that to the business world. So when you're having a business, that's a different IQ that I like to tell people about. And it's the IQ, meaning I quit. What is that IQ level that you need to have in order to be successful in business? Me personally, I think it needs to be at 100% all in, no matter what, right? So you think about in your business, if you make that phone call to a client or potential customer and the deal doesn't go through, do you quit or do you keep going? You think about if you make a business deal and you think that it's going to be successful, but it bombs. Do you quit or do you keep going? If you've lost a lot of money in your potential business deal, do you quit or do you keep going? When someone tells you no, let's say if you're doing network marketing, do you quit or do you keep going? So you have to determine what is your IQ level. And with business, it's all about consistent activity and being able to recognize and identify what is your IQ level. What's going to make you quit? I personally say you take it out of your vocabulary. You commit to your vision, your goals, your dream. Some vehicles might get you there, some may not. Being able to identify those and those that aren't, well, you let those go. But those that are moving in the direction of your vision, your goals, your dreams, then you continue to work with those. But quitting should never be an option for you. Okay? So your IQ level should be at 100% all in, not even thinking about it, because your goals, your dreams, your vision is on the table. And if you quit on it, make it, zero, you just walk away, then that's the only real way that you totally fail, right? So you may have bumps in the road, but in order to, if you walk away, that's absolute failure. Okay? So you have those temporary setbacks that you can get around them. You think through it, you look at it, you evaluate it. When things are going great, perfect. Look at it, evaluate it. You always take the time to evaluate where you are, and if it's going great, fantastic. What are we doing to make it go great? What can we do to make it even better than that? If it's not going so great, perfect. What did we do? What can we learn from it in order to not make that mistake again? Or if even if we do that again, what little piece can we tweak? Boom, and then it becomes successful. That's where you have to put your mind into as you're doing your business. I personally, I started working in the online world about 5 years ago. Started an online business. Let me tell you, that I always call it tenacity for me. Like if I start something, I want it to work. I'm going to make money from it. Some way, somehow, I'm going to figure it out. Or find somebody, I'm resourceful, find somebody that's going to help me to figure it out. That came with growth because I was always the person that worked things on my own. But now I tend to understand the concept of having a mentor, having a coach to work with me to get to where I want to be. So starting that online business, I went through trials and tribulations. But once I got the mentor and worked with the mentor, boom, 6 figures. So a lot of times your business goes like this, and all of a sudden exponential. And people don't see that dead time when you just working and working and chiming away. All they see is a success. So definitely look to understand what is your IQ level for your business, for your life. Determine what that is. Keep it at 100, my friends. That's all I have for you today. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you soon, my friends.